Hey guys, welcome back to Voice of a Teen Mom. We are currently on episode 5. Yes, so for episode 5, we're actually going to speak about labor and delivery. Now, let me just put this disclaimer out there that it took me a while to actually go into this memory of mine to try and remember all the things that happened. But let me know in the comment section if you guys have that issue of not remembering what actually happened during your labor and delivery time. It might be because it happened to me at an early age and I've lived a few years after this, and so that memory is in a part of the brain that isn't really working at this time, but I tried and I'm here to share with you guys about how my labor and delivery went. Firstly, I must thank God that during my 40 weeks of pregnancy, I didn't really feel ill. It was probably only the usual morning sickness, and that went away quite early. So I'm really grateful that I didn't have much complications during my pregnancy. So I went the full term of pregnancy, which is the 40 weeks, and there were quite a few preparations that needed to be done before I actually went into delivery, and most of it, I must say, again, thanks to my mother for ensuring that everything that I needed to get, that bag that you know you need while you're going into delivery, she made sure that I had every little thing. I mean, it wasn't much and we didn't have much, but she made sure that I wasn't going to be short of something that I would have needed. And that little bag was packed and it was there for whenever that time came. And from the Women's Center, we did get time off once it was close to our delivery time and even after the birth of the child. Pregnancy, it's not something to take lightly, and during that time for giving birth to the child, it's somewhat of an unexpected feeling of what's going to happen, how is it going to be, especially if it's the first time and this is your first child. And worse, if you are a teenager, you don't expect anything, you don't know what to expect, as a matter of fact. And so I was a little scared because I didn't know what was going to happen. But the morning of it all, I started to feel contractions and the pain. I don't think anyone can ever be prepared for the amount of pain that you feel. That pain is on a different level. No matter your pain threshold, it's really painful. And everyone's experience is different, but for mine, the pain was really bad. My mom had already gone to work, and so it was my cousin who hurriedly took up my bags, ensured that I was ready to go to the hospital. And from my experience, I didn't go to the hospital right away as I started to feel my contractions, because they always say that once you go in, you'll just be there feeling the pain because you have to be fully dilated, in layman's term, fully ready to actually deliver the baby before you actually go into the labor room. So I was actually home for a while feeling the pain until it started to get closer together, and that was when I was rushed to the hospital. While at the hospital, I got booked in and the pain started to get worse. I was there about, I don't remember exactly how long, but around 1 to 3 hours before I actually went into the labor room to give birth to my baby. And one of my fear was that, based on all the stories that I've heard, was that when you go into the hospital as a teenage mom, there are some staff there that will treat you badly, will discriminate against you, and some of them might do it lightly and it hardly show, but for some, they don't care. They're just going to be outright and show how distasteful they are of you. And that was one of my fears going into the hospital, because previously, despite facing some backlash, I mean, within your community and around you, I didn't have that on a high scale or high level. And so going into the hospital, I didn't want to experience that. And so luckily, when I went there, the staff, I mean, they were somewhat of valid discrimination, but it wasn't outright, and that I could have dealt with. Because one thing for sure, when you get pregnant at a young age, you will develop a thick skin. Even if you didn't have it before, this time you're going to develop a thick skin, because you're faced with so many discriminations, stereotyping. People say a lot of stuff, and so I was somewhat prepared, but not entirely. When I went in, the staff, I had good people around. The nurses, the doctors, they weren't bad. I didn't really face any outright backlash. So for that too, I am grateful, because that was one less thing to have to be worrying about or to have on my plate. During the process of delivery, I don't even know how to describe it. Everybody's delivery is different. All I know is once I delivered the baby, I didn't have much pain after that or any complications. And I am truly grateful for that, because I've heard a lot of stories from teen moms at the Women's Center and even mothers in general, that some have really bad complications. The baby isn't as healthy, the mother is having complications after labor and even during labor, as well as some have lost their child. And so it's a really painful thing when you go in and you don't know what's going to happen. So for that, I am grateful, and my sympathies go out to all the moms that have lost their child during labor, because it's not something that one should take lightly, and it's really a hard process. After giving birth, the doctors and nurses did their checks on the baby and myself. Once everything was okay, I was in the hospital for about 2-3 days. I think it was 2 days. I don't remember exactly. After giving birth, and once everything checked out, I was able to get visitors, and my mom and some other family members did come to visit. And that feeling to know that you have the support is always a good one. Despite everything, you always want to feel like someone is there for you. And thanks and shout out to all my family and everyone that reached out during that time. And so once everything was good at the hospital, I was discharged and I went home with my beautiful baby girl. And it's now time for a word to a teen mom. The process of pregnancy is very unpredictable. Some of us faced a very healthy pregnancy, while others had a lot of illness and complications during those moments. One thing you must do is to take care of yourself, both physically and mentally. And remember that we haven't yet matured, both in mind and body. So we have to be patient with ourselves. As a teen mom, going into delivery, you don't know what to expect. You're not sure of what will happen. But just be hopeful and have faith. Always pray. And despite how the process went in terms of how you're treated in the hospital, just remember that you'll be coming out with your bundle of joy. And for all my teen moms that unfortunately did not have their baby to bring home, my condolences to you. And I must say that no one knows how that feels except if you have gone through it. And it's not something that most of us talk about in a space for all mothers, not even teen mothers themselves, but for everyone that has lost a child. It's not really spoke on. And so we have to take care of ourselves and remember that it's new. It's a change that you have never done. It's something that you have never done before. Motherhood will be new to you, and you have to ensure that you take care of yourself and take care of your baby. Also, remember to give yourself time and give yourself some grace. And we've come to the end of episode 5. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode, and I can't say enough how grateful and thankful I am for all your support. Continue to like, share the channel with family and friends, and I don't have to say it one more time to share it to all our teen mothers. Please feel free to share in the comment section how your experience, if you've had a child, how the labor and delivery went for you. And if you're a teen mom as well, feel free to share how it went also. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you in the next one.